there's nothing from the league on that.
When did owners stop having spines? Have your fans' backs.
There
should be a stronger statement about, hey, and while we have this platform, we'd like to say we have the best women's basketball fans in the league. You don't think we're living in a scary Matrix world right now? That is what people are going to remember, not the fact that nothing happened.
And that's what's true. The WNBA released a statement. That's the shocking part of it. A statement that says that they concluded their investigation looking into racially charged slurs or slur towards Angel Reese / Chicago Sky players following the game, or during the game, excuse me, against the Indiana Fever. Here's the statement released shortly after our show yesterday, Chad. The following statement, the WNBA strongly condemns, this is the initial statement, excuse me, strongly condemns, there we go. The statement that they released is, we've investigated the report and the behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17, 2025 Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever game, based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, team and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game. We have not substantiated it. The WNBA is committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for everyone and will continue to be vigilant in enforcing our fan code of conduct. That from the W yesterday. Chad, I said at the time that I felt like, it just felt like it was a distraction after Caitlin Clark played and was dominant over Angel Reese. And I felt that way because, in the arena, the investigation is going to play out on social media. And this was the assumed noise in the arena.
It's a flagrant, and then Chicago will maintain the basketball.
Yeah, the dolphin noise that was just annoying, but in no way did it sound like a monkey. And we came in after the weekend and said, this shouldn't take long. And instead it took days, over a week. And we finally have, to date, a conclusion from the W on what took place.
10 days. 10 days is what the investigation took to shut the books on it and say, after further review, Indiana Fever fans are not racist scumbags. So that's what we declared based on this this whole investigation. Here's what bothers me, Hutton, about this whole thing.
Yep.
And it's this sort of rinse and repeat cycle that we see time and time again. By the way, huge loss for the race baiters out there everywhere in this one. That, in fact, there weren't racist taunts at a WNBA game of all places. It's always dumb to have some sort of racist taunt anywhere, but especially at a WNBA game, which most people heard and thought, it's a dolphin noise. This is nothing to see here. But a lot of people in the media, and we'll get to those people, made a huge deal about it. The same people in media that made a giant deal over what turned out to be nothing, what turned out to essentially be a hoax. There are so many people in this country that only saw that first story on a social media account, on ESPN, they heard it in a podcast, they saw it somewhere else. They won't even see the follow-up. That's what pisses me off. They're not even going to see the fact that the WNBA actually came back and said, you know what? Nothing happened. Nothing. No racist taunts. We found no evidence of anything. The referee went underneath the hood, looked at the video evidence, and came back and said the call is overturned. No racist activity in the arena that day. People aren't going to see the follow-up. This happens so often. You see the initial story, especially if it aligns with your worldview, and you don't see the end of the story. The end of the story here is the fact that the WNBA, they went through, and we've got the statement from the WNBA, they went through video evidence, audio evidence, arena workers. They talked to relevant team members of both teams. They looked into it. They did a thorough investigation. Good job by the WNBA. They took 10 days. They looked into all of it. They came back and said, whoever's making this claim is full of it. Essentially, that's what they're saying. But so many people won't see the follow-up to this. And Hutton, that bothers me.
You know what they're not going to see?
That people aren't going to get the full story.
They're not going to see any apology to the Indiana Fever fans because it takes place in an Indiana Fever game. And yet again, another accusation about Caitlin Clark fans. Go back to the statement because I want to break this down. This thorough investigation where it says that they looked into relevant fans. Okay? Let's just check these off. The fans at a WNBA game or anywhere would be like, wouldn't we all be like pissed off if we had someone that was doing this at a game?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to investigate this. It would be discussed by fans, not just a team. Let's continue. Team and arena staff. If they heard something, it's playing out in real time. We have the person or people that are doing it. It's already determined that it took place. Audio and video review of the game. Social media had plenty. And we have not substantiated it. Of course you haven't. Because across the arena, even while Angel Reese is at the free throw line, and again, whenever we came in after the weekend from this game, I said, if this is around the time that we are, the perception was this was when the accusations of taunts or slurs were thrown out there. Here's the other side of the arena where, again, you can't hear anything whatsoever. The other side of the arena. I mean, it's booing at a basketball game. My point here is
investigate it.
Investigate it. Now,
investigate those boos.
Here's the other issue that I have. The Indiana Fever as an organization in their statement. Chad, would you like to know what they said?
I would.
We appreciate the swift and thorough process undertaken by the WNBA to investigate these allegations, which were not substantiated. At Gainbridge Fieldhouse, we are committed to providing the best possible basketball experience for players and fans, where hate speech has absolutely no place. Indiana is home to the world's greatest fans, and we look forward to an exciting season of Fever basketball. I mean, talk about not having your fans back, or or your organization being accused of this, like as a fan base. What? You have to say, like, yet we concluded our investigation, literally a day after, when we haven't seen or heard anything from anyone on social, because everyone has their phone out. And if it were about the player, that's happening in real time as well. It's not next question whenever asked about it. So, like, what we don't see in that statement is they investigated this by asking players. You know you see what I'm saying? Or an individual player who would have had this claim. Like, there's more to this, and this comes after yet another long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, where we have a player in the WNBA, say something about Caitlin Clark or, white girl in general.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? And there's nothing from the league on that.
When did owners stop having spines?
Well, I mean,
in certain sports, I don't understand if you're in a position. I mean, this guy owns the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Pacers now up 3-1, are about to go to the NBA Finals. So our friend Herb Simon, what you said, have your fans' backs.
There should be a
stronger statement about, hey, and while we have this platform, we'd like to say we have the best women's basketball fans in the league.
And
we're selling out our arena.
Yes.
We are psyched about the future, and we don't put up with this hostile, racist environment reputation that we've been unfairly given.
And you know what else you
Take
said?
a chance to go after the liars out there that are making this stuff up. Let me get to the core of what happened here. The Chicago Sky got their asses kicked 93-58, and after the game, instead of just saying, you know what, that Caitlin Clark is the best player in the world, and she really took it to us today, and that Fever team is really good, and we just got to take our L and get better, they start crying and becoming victims again. Someone with the Chicago Sky wants to say after a 93-58 beatdown, let's not talk about the ass kicking. Let's talk about the lady making a dolphin noise in section 310.
I mean, I presume.
What the hell? What are we? Why will the Indiana? Why is it a show like ours that comes out strong against someone making those accusations, and not the owner of the team that's having their entire fan base disparaged by this?
Well, you come out and say, and you're absolutely correct. Anyone who doesn't like it, our team is full of Caitlin Clark fans who are WNBA fans, and our team accounted for nearly 50% of television viewership and revenue in the previous season. Come on, let's. The value is being treated like it's a problem, and we're not going to stand for it. And I'm also here to say, like, post game, you have Indiana Fever players who are just, you don't think they would have heard something, or potentially heard something, or have heard something based on these allegations in the past, based on it always seemingly being about Caitlin Clark fans, and this pool of the new quote-unquote fan base, they would be talking about it too. Hell, Caitlin Clark would be discussing it. And I only hear it whenever it's seemingly Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever. And that's the story here. And you have the home team saying we have the best fans and we condemn racism and bigotry. Of course you do. And we would too. I also condemn the fact that you have allegations that are just not substantiated, and it's just treated like, well, we'll wait till the next game when more allegations come out.
It's unbelievable that the WNBA just refuses to take this W. They refuse to take the win that is Caitlin Clark. They are putting every landmine in front of them. Players and members of teams are calling entire fan bases racist. Brittany Griner, when asked about new fans of the game and more eyeballs on television to the product and everything else, says, oh, yeah, I don't want the new racist fans, all these racists that are in the league that like Caitlin Clark. I don't like what's going on. I certainly don't like that. I don't want them. I mean, just take the W. It's going to mean more money for everybody. All the good players in the WNBA are going to make more money because of this. Hell, the NBA right now is about to have an Oklahoma City, Indiana finals. That thing's going to rate as poorly as those games in tape delay in the NBA finals in the 70s. This is going to be awful for NBA ratings, this matchup you're about to get in the NBA finals. Yet the WNBA continues to put up impressive ratings and numbers, all because of Caitlin Clark, and in large part because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. What you don't need on top of that are players trying to injure your cash cow, Caitlin Clark, during games, and you don't need false accusations of racism against fan bases. There's no place for it. It's ridiculous. Everyone wants to be the victim right now and not accept any part of anything, and it's crazy.
All right, and let's now look at it from this angle. And you were right. You said this. Like, the majority of people who weren't following this and see the headlines, because it was trending all over the place, it still is, are discussing the fact that there are racial slur allegations, right? And the first statement from the WNBA is what is going to be thought of first here. The ChatGPT statement, issued statement. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. That is what's going to be largely remembered about all this. And by the way, Chad and I, OutKick, everyone, this is a statement we should live by. Strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. Of course you do.
Hey, Hutton, you mentioned what is going to be the memory of this story, how it's going to be AI generated, and what's going to happen. I just searched AI overview, and I just searched racist allegations, Indiana Fever, Chicago Sky, hoping that the AI overview would include the summation of the investigation that said there were no racist chants of the game. You know what it says? Following a recent game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever in Indianapolis on May 17, 2025, there were allegations of racist fan behavior directed at Sky player Angel Reese. The WNBA launched an investigation into the matter, specifically looking into reports of hateful fan comments. They then go into a breakdown of the situation, all acting as if it happened.
There you go.
You don't think we're living in a scary Matrix world right now? That is what people are going to remember, not the fact that nothing happened.
And that's what's trending and was trending, and that's what the reaction was, not by us, but by, in large, the sports media. And, you've got First Take, and they're not the only show, but that's the popular show, where they're debating, about the rivalry. Is there hate? Is there not? It sparked Ryan Clark and RG3. That popped off. And the reaction is, well, it's hate. And the reaction on the fan base's side is, well, that it's alleged, so I guess it happened. And we didn't hear anything from anyone at the arena. We saw on social, we certainly heard the annoying fan. And that's pretty much it. And we heard a lot of booing. And we saw the final score. And then we see the reaction from the media. Shanae Awubike, who has, and last week was saying, the rivalry's great, and both players, it was a take foul. The reaction is something that she said that she's seen across the league, where you get up and you're frustrated and you're pissed off. Okay, whatever. She said it was fair on both players' sides. She also said this originally.
Comes growing pains. I don't want to live in a WNBA where I believe all fans are bad, or most fans are bad, or certain fans of certain teams are bad. I can't live in a WNBA like that. But still, you have to understand that there is some language from maybe a few bad actors that were caught up in microphones or by the ears of players that were out of bounds, which caused the WNBA to make an investigation.
I mean, therein lies my whole point about what the Fever aren't even doing. Certain teams, you mentioned certain teams. She's talking about the Indiana Fever fans.
Yeah.
And all fans, or most fans of the WNBA. New fans. She didn't say new fans, but that's... So
let's say what she's saying, too. She's saying Caitlin Clark fans.
Yeah, she's
whether
saying
they're
the same
in
thing as Brittany
Indianapolis
Griner
or anywhere else. Any Caitlin Clark fan that is drawn to the league because of Caitlin Clark is racist. And that's what she's trying to say.
And that's the reaction, by and large, was, well, this must have happened. Well, she's issued the apology now.
This is a follow-up tweet where she says, "We can't thrive in a WNBA where the fan base is bad. Love that the W has begun to take well-needed measures to protect the players in the space." Watch me break down. This is her, clip that she posted about it. So this was her preview of what we just saw. Basically, which a lot of people do, enticing you with this. Indiana Fever fans are racist. I'm going to talk about it here. And I don't want to live in a world where WNBA fans, of all people, are racist. All those other sports have racist fans. She's good with that. She can't live in a world where fans are now racist.
Right. And this is also, this is a deeper conversation. This is also media playing into the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's what this was.
The entity. I just learned about it. Mission Impossible.
The entity, which is
the entity
the
is
algorithm.
It's very scary. It's scaring me, but the entity is everywhere
because the fans.
The entity wants us to hate.
Chad,
this is what Ethan Hunt taught us in the latest Mission Impossible. The entity wants us to hate, but really we have more in common than we don't. Even Russians and Americans. I learned about this in Mission Impossible. I could teach an entire. I could write a thesis based on the last two Mission Impossible films about doing away with AI and algorithms.
Also, how do we, another conversation, how do we know that the allegations are about a straight WNBA fan who happens to be a Caitlin Clark supporter? How do we know that? We don't.
No.
It just happens to take place for the Indiana Fever.
You mean the fake allegation?
Right, the allegation.
The allegation itself
the allegation's still there.
But everyone assumed it's...
I haven't heard from the. By the way, have the Chicago Sky issued a statement saying, "Oh, our bad, our bad."
That sounded like the voice of like a 70-year-old woman making an annoying noise. Imagine the 70-year-old straight white woman that purchases a ticket to an Indiana Fever game
to do that,
just to go in and in this hypothetical world, spent an entire game making racial taunts at Angel Reese without a single person in a packed arena at a WNBA game telling her to GTFO and reporting her to security.
Let me also
imagine that being a world where that you could slip through the cracks doing that. And imagine if this hypothetical person actually existed that would purchase a ticket just to do that. It's not reality.
You know what else isn't reality? If this occurred, the allegations would be something that would be doubled down on today. If it happened, the Chicago Sky, the team, the player or players would double down on the fact that it absolutely happened, and they're certain that they heard what they heard. I haven't seen that to this point, and I haven't seen a statement from the Chicago Sky either. Like that's the other side of this is if it happened, especially in that league, the double down's coming.
Yeah. Now let's also I do want to give a little bit of credit to Chini Ogumike.
Shanae, yeah.
Because she's Shanae?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Hutton. Butchered it. But she did come out with an apology.
Good point.
We have the apology.
Yeah. I got sidetracked.
Now, I have
Sorry,
some
Shanae.
thoughts on this self-congratulatory apology that she makes, where it's basically her doing a victory lap about how she's always trying to improve herself and make the best version of herself every day.
I'll listen for
that.
that.
But we can
Here's,
listen to the apology.
Shanae Ogumike.
Hey everybody, I'm sure you've seen the WNBA statement on the investigation, and I want to address this with the same energy I did the first time, because if you really know me, I always try my absolute best to uplift the WNBA, to celebrate the amazing players, the coaches, and of course the fans. That is something that is at the core of everything that I do. But if you know me, you know I'm not afraid to say I can do better. I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care. It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry. I'm also happy that the WNBA treated the matter with the utmost seriousness, followed through with the investigation, and I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore. I mean, some of my favorite memories as a pro was playing in Indiana, and I truly believe that WNBA, we have the most passionate fans, and I'm grateful for our community. I hope you know that's who I am. All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was perfect.
Yeah. Now, again, I applaud her for saying, my favorite part of it was I got caught up in the moment and the emotion of it, and I'm trying to be better. So, I apologize, sort of, is what she's saying. Now, here's the two questions I have. One, she was reacting emotionally, but after talking to people close to the situation. She's claiming she spoke to people with the Chicago Sky organization that were there and experienced it. Well, now you don't believe those people? Are you following up with them and asking, what the hell did you tell me that happened? Because there's no evidence of it happening. Did she actually talk to people with the Chicago Sky, or did she, as she stated previously, react emotionally to a story and an allegation? I don't know that I completely buy that she's talking to Chicago Sky people that made the allegation directly, and that's why she comes in and gets mad about it.
I took it like it was
so
broad.
I don't. And if like Hutton, you have sources or people you talk to.
Yeah.
We all may occasionally talk to someone. If someone was there and they're telling me, I know absolutely what happened. Here's what happened. There were these people behind us yelling this, this, and this.
Right.
So then I go on a show and say that, like, hey, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. These racist fans. Then it comes back that, oh, no, it didn't happen. I mean, I'd have questions for the person that told me that.
Yeah, the quote that you used was, it was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns and told me what they had experienced.
Yeah, I take that as someone there.
Firsthand.
Yeah, firsthand Chicago Sky people complaining. So I don't know that I fully buy that she spoke firsthand to Chicago Sky people.
No, I buy that.
But if she did, then who are your sources?
Well, that's the thing. Is like,
and what are they believing they're hearing?
Right. And again,
and also you've got some real rabbit ears for racism if you take a dolphin noise and try to turn that into something else.
Let me say it again. She says, I'm sorry my message was in the heat of the moment because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care. It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation who raised real concerns and told me what they had experienced. Okay, people close to the situation who raised real concerns and told me what they had experienced. Those people are doubling down today on their real concerns and what they had experienced. That's right?
Yeah.
And now I don't see that. So again, like there's something off there. Where Indiana Fever as an organization, they're saying like, thank you for this swift investigation, WNBA, and we also don't condone racism, and we have the best fans, and thank you. But what? Like, it's got to be better than that.
And while I applaud her again for being the bigger person and just coming out and saying and owning it,
that was great.
Yeah, overall, I get it 85%. I'm just nitpicking the 15% that I have questions about.
That's great in the WNBA. 85% of this.
85% is great. I mean, Angel Reese would kill for an 85% layup percentage. Sorry, not even free throw percentage. If she could hit 85% of wide open layups, her scoring average would be way higher. So she'd kill for that type of percentage.
On the court.
That's like the Mission Impossible Rotten Tomato score is 80%.
Oh.
That's great. So 85% is great. I liked 85% of it. I still have real questions about if you believe the people you're talking to. And we don't have the follow-up yet from the Chicago Sky side of it. So Angel Reese has not been interviewed.
Say.
Right. But the people have not been interviewed that made the accusations. And I'm not saying Angel Reese was the one to make the accusation. But people in the organization. But if you believe your organization, right? Hutton and I are on the same team. Hutton hears something right behind him in the stands that's preposterous and should get the person kicked out. Hutton tells me firsthand he heard it. He levies a complaint with the league. The league investigates, come back, so they didn't find anything. If I'm Hutton's teammate and I'm interviewed about it, my response is, I believe my teammate. They heard this, and I believe them. I don't believe the league. Next question.
No.
Is anyone going to do that?
No.
Probably not. Why? Because I don't think anyone truly believes that it happened.
No.
Based on everything. I don't even know the Chicago Sky believe the person's claiming it happened.
I'm not sitting here saying whatever the accusations are from, not even accusations, like personal accounts Angel Reese says that she's had, like on social or wherever, right? If that's happened where she's received death threats and racial comments towards her, I hate that. Like, I don't want that to happen. We all condemn that. But in an arena where the headline from the AP, whenever this was reported that they were looking into this, the WNBA is investigating racial comments directed towards Angel Reese by fans during the Chicago Sky's loss to the Indiana Fever. Someone that also feels the way I do is going to overhear that. And they're going to also go public and say, "This, I heard this. We don't condone this as Indiana Fever fans." They don't. These people don't represent me as an Indiana Fever fan. That would be the response. That hasn't happened. So, of course, like you're saying, like they probably don't believe. How could they believe that this happened now? Because it would play out literally on social media faster than the swift investigation, as the Indiana Fever organization said, that the WNBA conducted.
Well, I'm glued to the follow-up now. The questions to Sky players, how they handle it. If anyone dares to step out and say, no, I believe the person who made the allegation and not the league's investigation and not the Fever investigation, we'll see if someone takes it that far. I don't think they will. I think it probably ends here.
What they're doing is they're now flipping the statement. Instead of saying next question, like they're now praising the WNBA for looking into this so thoroughly.
One other, part of the 15% I talked about I didn't like about the whole thing, I don't think it's your job to uplift the WNBA. Right? You know me, I've always wanted to uplift the WNBA and help these athletes, and you're a working member of the media that covers the WNBA.
I will say, I
don't think it's your responsibility to uplift the league.
She goes on a lot with Monica McNutt on First Take. she has I think Shanae Awubike has a more balanced approach to the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese debate.
I think she's better than Monica McNutt on television too.
So I like the fact that she
Just
thinks
personally.
for herself, but she's admitting she's thinking on behalf of what's best for the league. What's best for the league is Caitlin Clark. What's best for the league is this rivalry between these two. They played into it, and we do as well. I mean, we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about this at the bar. What are you talking about today at the bar? What were you talking about Monday? It was that, because the viewership showed that. This is driving the attention.
The entity.
And now we're waiting on response, because Angel Reese is going to be asked about it. She was asked about it already prior to this statement from the league, and what the response was, next question. Come on. If it happened, the double down would be happening. Players would be outraged. There would be rallies going on right now.
Yeah, if there's new
In that
news
league.
on this, you'll see our reaction right here. I can guarantee that. If this story goes anywhere else, we'll be talking
There
about
would be calls for the Indiana Fever to not be allowed to play any more home games in that state from its
relegation.
players. Yeah. They would have to fly commercial.
Caitlin
Clark must fly commercial.
They'll have to play in whatever minor league of the WNBA that plays an actual basketball season, that plays in the winter. They'll have to go to that league and play.
Caitlin Clark must travel like Mick Cronin.
Yes.
Cross country and on Allegiant.
Yeah.
That would be the demand.
With a stale, soggy turkey sandwich waiting on him when he gets on the plane.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to have a hot meal when I get on that plane.
Mick
Cronin.
What time is it? Yeah. Mick Cronin. That would be the punishment. Mick Cronin would be like, that sucks for her. I've been doing that. If you're here at the channel, I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe here at OutKick for the YouTube channel. Plenty to discuss with Trey Wallace coming up. He's been at the SEC spring meetings where, let's just say, Greg Sankey is showing who everyone else listens to. He's giving yet another example of when he speaks, we all listen, and when the ACC or the Big 12 speak, everyone wants to know what Greg Sankey thinks about it. That's all straight ahead here on Not Mike.